Hello and welcome back. My name is Regular Joe, and this is the second video in what I hope to be a long and interesting series. The first one was called Introduction to Regular Joe and gave an overview as to what this is all about. So if you haven't seen that one, it might make more sense to do so. In that video, I mentioned that in the second one, meaning this one here, that I'd be telling you a story, a true story. And that this story would most likely be familiar to each and every one of you, as it's really the sort of thing that happens to all of us. And in subsequent videos, we're going to be referring back to the story and learning a few practical things that we can use to improve conditions, change the world even. It's powerful stuff. All right, now, I did come up with a good title. War and Peace. That's what it was. What? Oh, somebody's got that one already. Okay, The Art of War. No? Oh, okay. All right, I'm going to call it Peter and the Caldwell Gang, because that's who they were. All right, now, I was about 11 years old, and our family had just moved into a brand new neighborhood in a rural part of the country. And I remember that first afternoon, my brother and I went for a walk. And just about a block down the street, we ran into a group of kids all hanging around on a dirt knoll. And being, wanting to be friendly, we walked up to say hi and so forth. It turns out the oldest, his name was Peter. Must have been about 12 years old, maybe 13. The next oldest was Frankie, and I guess he must have been about my age, and the rest of them were Frankie's brothers, all younger, and whose names I don't know to this day. Now, I don't remember much conversation having occurred, but I do remember this. Peter challenged me to a fight with Frankie. Well, I didn't know how to fight, so 2 seconds later I was face down chewing dirt. And so impressed was I with this initial meeting that I vowed never again to run into Peter and the Caldwell Gang. Now, this was quite an inconvenience because that meant to go to school, and we walked to school in those days. I had to find routes that avoided Peter and Frankie's territory. And plus I had to find out what their territory was. And as I, eventually made friends, to go to their house and to come back to mine, I had to find all these alternate routes through backyard gardens, this, that, and the other thing. And it was a bit complicated, but I don't know, it seemed to work out for about 4 years. Because it was about 4 years later that I was cresting the top of Stiles Road with a friend of mine, headed home, and there at the bottom of the hill was Peter and the Caldwell Gang. Well, I had enough integrity to not turn tail and run, to not go sideways through the closest neighbor's house and down through the backyards. There I was stuck right out there in the open, so I proceeded on down the hill, knees shaking a little bit until I reached the bottom and stopped in front of Peter and the Caldwell Gang. Now, silly me, I had 4 years to work out how to do karate or judo or something. I didn't do any such thing. Things seemed perfectly fine, walking through backyards and gardens and all that. And here I was facing Peter and the Caldwell Gang again. It was rather unavoidable. Now, I knew, well, by the way, I don't remember much conversation that occurred except for this. Peter challenged me to a fight with Frankie. Anyway, I knew I had to win this one, and so without so much as a push around to get things started properly, I just pounced on Frankie and I dragged him to the ground. He was face down in the asphalt, and I just pounded on his back. I just pounded and pounded and pounded, no particular rhyme, reason, rhythm, strategy. But after a while, I noticed that Frankie wasn't really doing that much, so I figured that I was done, and I got up. Now, I don't think he was unconscious or hurt that badly or anything, except for maybe his ego. But as I walked away, it didn't really fully occur to me till the next day that suddenly the neighborhood was safe for me. And after that, I could go anywhere I wanted. Moreover, and oddly enough, I never again ran into Peter and the Caldwell gang. Now, years went by. I became older and wiser. And I looked back on that time period and realized there were some things that I didn't know at that time. Things that I had since learned in life. Things that clarified both what happened there, clarified what I did right and what I did wrong, and what I should have done, and things which made other things in life more clear. After all, isn't that just a microcosm of things that happen in the office, in politics, in international politics, in war? Yeah, that is a microcosm of much greater and more complex things. And yet, they all boil down to about the simplicity of a fight between me and Frankie Caldwell. So, in later videos, we're going to take this apart piece by piece. And I do believe we're going to learn some things that you innately know, but might not have occurred to you. Things that will give clarity to life in general, and more importantly, give you practical knowledge and tools to be able to do something effective about similar things in your life right now. In fact, we can change the world. It's that powerful. All right, so that's it for this video, and the next one we'll start digging into this thing a little bit and see what we can learn from it.